Hey, welcome in. So, recently I finished my Persona 3 100% run, and I wanted to just share my overall experience on the game, what I liked, what I didn't like, and just share what I thought about the experience and if I'd recommend it to you guys. You might be wondering, why are we listening to this guy and what does he know? Well, I'm just a gamer, man. I don't really know much. I just like playing games. I like 100% in these games, and I like just talking about them. That's kind of it at the end of the day. So I thought it'd be fun to just hop on a platform and just yap, share my feelings from one person who enjoys video games to probably, I'd assume, another. So, yeah, this is probably your first time visiting my channel or my content, seeing that on your page. First of all, thanks for being here. Absolutely appreciate you just clicking on this and just hearing what I have to say. This isn't, I don't have an outline or a goal for this channel or anything. Like I said, just like playing games, I like talking about this kind of stuff. So I just wanted somewhere I could just have a chill conversation with a microphone, I guess, and hopefully it just is bring some enjoyment in your day. That'd be pretty cool. I think so anyway. So yeah, that's all. That's all I can really say about the channel and what to expect with it. But with that being said, let's just talk Persona. Before we get too deep into it, just wanted to reiterate that this is just a chill conversation. This is nothing to be diving deep into the story and digging into plot points and talking about all this deep philosophy stuff. I'm just here to talk about the game and what I enjoyed about the video game and if I think you would enjoy the video game. So we'll be talking about it, just a broad outline about it overall, the pros, the cons. I think I'll keep a list about the pros and the cons, and then I think at the end I'll also give it like an overall grade, what my overall thoughts were when they're all said and done. So thought it'd be fun to kind of revisit these later in the future. I'm kind of viewing this as like a time capsule type deal. It'd be like, oh yeah, remember when I did my 100% run of Persona 3? These are what my thoughts were. So yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of fun. So yeah, before we get to Persona 3, how did I get to Persona, I guess? Not to just go too deep in the weeds here, but I just want to share a little bit about myself and how I got into Persona. So Persona 5 was my first game. Let's just break the ice right there, with the franchise anyway. My first game with the franchise, and I'm sure a lot of people can say that nowadays because Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal is critically acclaimed. A lot of people say it's their favorite video game of all time. I'm one of those. It was one of those life-changing experiences where I played it one winter because I found it in a $20 Walmart bin, and now every time winter time comes around, I'm like, man, I can just cozy up and go for a good Persona experience. It's one of those games, man. It's like you remember where you were when you played it. You remember everything. It's one of those life-altering experiences. Not to be too dramatic about it, but after Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal. Oh, I need to add just to flex my gamer horn, I guess, toot it, if you will. I 100% of Persona 5 3 times, so I like to think I have quite a bit of experience, a lot of time in this universe. I'm not an expert by any means, but I would like to just reiterate how passionate I am about this franchise, and that's kind of a big reason why I chose this game to be the first video versus episode that I just talk about because, yeah, I just have so much joy and passion for it. So that's really it, I guess. So anyway, after Persona 5, I went to Persona 5 Strikers, I believe. I didn't really, it's not worth talking about in my opinion. I didn't even finish it. I played it for a little bit. I was like, ah, cool, more of this universe, more of these characters. I'd probably just set it to the side and moved on, honestly. One of those bad gamer habits. Went to Persona 4 after that. Again, one of those bad gamer habits. I just set it down for something else. I know Rewind is going to be getting its official announce here at some point. I will totally revisit Persona 4 when that time comes. But for some reason, it just wasn't clicking with me. I think I totally could dive into it now and just grind it out and really fall in love with it. But these games, sometimes I just need to be in the mood for them, and it wasn't one of those. And the same story goes for Persona 3 actually in general. That's why this episode or this video is coming out 2 years after its initial release. It took me 2 years to get back to this game, and we'll get into the story on why. So, yeah, like I said, this game actually came out in 2024. Persona 3 Reload. I remember when this game was announced because I was just so excited because what they were doing was they were formatting and bringing this game back to life in the format that Persona 5 is. And to me, that was so appealing because I fell in love with Persona 5. It hit me in a type of way, the feel of the game. And honestly, we can make a whole video about that game, but there's probably way too many. Nobody's going to be listening to a guy like me talk about that game. Anyway, Persona 3 was getting reformatted in the Persona 5 format, and I was so excited about it. I pre-ordered it, and I waited for the seasons to change. I waited. The game came out in February of 2024. I played it the night it came out. I will never forget this. I probably played for like 5 or 6 hours, and then I think my friends got online. I wish I could remember what we were playing, but I do remember my friend getting home from work, and he's like, "Hey, we're playing this." And I said, "Okay." And I didn't revisit Persona 3 for a long time. I don't know why. That's just a gamer thing. Most people just push things to their backlog and that's where it stays. To be honest, I want to say I went back and played Witcher 3 when I put this game down, and probably just because I remember playing that and finishing that before going back to revisit this game. And honestly, that's okay. Persona or Witcher 3 was a fantastic game, so I can't really hate. But yeah, kind of just one of them gamer things. Just set a game down. We'll revisit it in, a while. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, dropped Persona 3, and then it took me a couple years to get back to it. Um, Now, you might be asking, like, I dropped it, but, like, why? Like, yeah, I said I was playing with, like, friends, and I just decided to play a different game, but what was the real reason why I didn't really dive back into it? Honestly, and I don't mean to start this whole thing out with, like, a con right off the list, but what really turned me off about the game was the gameplay loop on Tartarus, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not, but the gameplay loop of the dungeon crawling is such a turn off to me. Well, I shouldn't say it's such a turn off. What I don't like about it is it feels like it is never ending. And it totally, I mean, you're going through level and level and level doing the same thing over and over. And yeah, I'll give it to them. They try to keep it fresh with like the different themes and the different monsters and the rare shadows and the treasures and all that kind of stuff. But in an 80 to 100 hour game, it gets to be kind of a drag. And it took a long time for me to just be like, okay, I'm just going to sit down and I'm just going to push through this and push through this. And I know there is other aspects to this game, like the social links, but it's something you really have to be in the mood for. Yes, I love these games. I love this franchise, but it's just something that I have to convince myself to be like, okay, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to dungeon crawl. I think at the time, man, I was just looking at The Witcher and I was like, yeah, I could go for that kind of game at the moment. So that's probably why I dropped it. And honestly, when I revisited it, the feelings were still kind of there. I was still kind of just like, grinding through these. But the one cool thing about the Persona games is if you can grind through those in a day, like all the levels that you possibly can, the floor levels in Tartarus, you can grind through those in a day or two. You can just work on social links. You can hang out for the next week or two until your next big battle arrives. So that is a good thing. It isn't too big of a drag, but yeah, it's just kind of a turnoff for me overall. So I, again, don't mean to start this list with a con, but that'll be the first con on our list. And if you're confused on what I'm talking about with the dungeon crawling, chances are you're probably not. But just a quick little overview of it. It's just dungeon crawling, just like Mementos in Persona 5 and the Midnight Channel in Persona 4. Same exact thing. You're just going through levels, fighting the shadows, looking for treasures, etc., etc. So that's all it is. Like I said, just gonna off the bat give that a con. So revisiting it though, overall, what was my initial impressions? I was feeling the Persona experience again, man. I wanted to get into a cozy world. I wanted to get into that type of adventure, I guess. And the atmosphere frickin' hits in this game. So real quick, the PSP version of this game, when I see pictures and I see wallpapers and stuff like that, I think it just looks really dark and really toned down and just really gray. Something about it's just kind of gloomy to me. It just never caught my attention. I feel like Reload, and I could be totally wrong on this, honestly, but Reload just feels so fresh and alive and colorful, and it's just a different vibe to me than the PSP version. So, honestly, I don't know what they changed about it, but like I said, there's just a bigger breath of fresh air to this game, and that's why I really fell in love with it, and the feels and the sounds and all that. It was hitting, I guess, all the right spots. So, give the atmosphere in this game a pro. With the atmosphere comes the sound, and that being the soundtrack. Persona, something in Persona does is it knocks socks off with its soundtrack. One of the most acclaimed soundtracks ever is Persona 3. I heard that before I played this game. People rave about it all the time. This one and P5, people talk about nonstop. I honestly think P5 might be a little better, in my opinion. It was my first experience, so I'm a little bit biased. But Persona 3 has many bangers. Wow. I don't need to talk about it's going down, but if I may, really quick, let's just say I was disturbing the peace of my neighbors when I first started playing this game, and then it's going down. Actually, not to be a complete nerd, um, it was my number one song on Spotify this last year, and I'm not even ashamed about it. I'm really not. It's such a good song, man. Every time you get into it, it just kicks in. Oh my god, what a song! The rest of it's great. The intro's fantastic. It's what a great soundtrack, man. Cannot rave about it enough. So big pro soundtrack. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the cast in this game. The cast is another one, an all timer. Persona does such a good job at writing these characters and make you fall in love with these characters individually. They're also different. They're also unique. They all stand out on their own, and this game's no different from any of the other ones. Persona 5, and honestly, most games in general, honestly, they have one or two characters you might not care about as much. This game has those as well, but honestly, they're all written so well. I've got no complaints all across the board. Like I said, a couple snoozers here and there, but it was all really done well. So yeah, the cast. And again, not trying to go in spoilers and talk too specifics or anything like that, but the cast is going to get a pro from me, and it kind of segues into the next point because with a great cast and great writing, I think naturally comes a great story, and this game has a freaking awesome story. When I first started this game, I was talking to my friend, telling him I'm getting back into it, and he's a huge Persona fan. He told me, he said, you're gonna want to let me know what you think of the ending of the game because you're gonna feel a lot of things. Is all he said. And I was like, awesome. So this one's gonna be a heart tugger probably, and you know what? It hit all the emotions. It hit everything. It makes you laugh, makes you smile, makes you cry. Again, just good writing, good characters. It's just that's how you get the magic, you know. So yeah, big pro right there as well to the story. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed these characters. They really carried the weight of the story, I would say. So the main story, fantastic. If you don't know, this game does have a DLC. The DLC is base pay $30, and you get a 30 additional hours to the story. So the DLC, what do we even say about it? So I am a PC player. I played this game on Steam, and when you go to purchase any game on Steam or any DLC, anything, it tells you what the reviews are. If it's overwhelmingly positive, if it's negative, just normal positive, or if it's mixed. The DLC for Persona 3 Reload was mixed. It's like I said, $30 DLC, and what you're getting out of this DLC is just more of that dungeon crawling experience. Yes, you might get some cutscenes and maybe a little bit of cinematics, but I feel like you're only getting like 1 to 2 like true cinematics. I feel like it's all just them in the dorm talking and them in areas talking a little bit more, and then it's just more dungeon crawling experience. So for 30 hours of that, I was just so turned up about it. To be honest with you, I was just trucking through it and not really feeling it. I was just more or less in the mindset that I just want to be done with this freaking game. So it is kind of sad because $30 is quite a bit for a DLC. I think most DLCs are in that $10-15 range, maybe even 20, I guess. But with 30 hours is a lot of content. So if this is something you absolutely fall in love with, maybe you'll like it. Maybe I'm just in the wrong on this one, but it does have mixed reviews. So I think the majority is probably not majority, I guess, but most people, half the people, I guess, is kind of in the negative on it, along with me. So I'll give it a con. I'll throw that on the con list as well. Was the DLC? It just wasn't for me, man. So, although the DLC, you need to play it. Why? Because it has achievements. That'll be the next thing we're talking about here. Achievements and trophies. However you game is, however you call them. Sorry to be on the wrong side of the fence for you if you call them trophies, but in my case, they were the achievements. There's 56 of them. I can't remember how many you get through the main line. I want to say probably like 46 or something around there. I think you get like 8 to 10 by playing the DLC. You get the final 8 to 10 through playing through the DLC. So you do have to play it in order to get all of them, in order to 100% the game. With those 56 trophies, it took me a total of 108 hours to complete this game, which is a pretty good sized game. I think most of these bigger games nowadays around that size. I did finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth actually this morning, the day of recording this, which no, I don't know if I'm going to be recapping that one. I think I only want to recap games I'm 100% in, but Or Final Fantasy, I think I put 120 hours into it. Fantastic game as well, by the way. So 100 hours for Persona 3 felt pretty good. A lot of content there, a lot of gameplay. So yeah, overall, I think those are the main talking points I wanted to just cover about the game. Kind of just the main things people focus on in a game. Is the story good? The cast good? The vibes good? Does it all check? And that's what I wanted to talk about overall. So yeah, quick little 15-minute discussion. Nothing super crazy. Yeah, so really quick, like I said, I wanted to recap the pros, the cons, and just give it a grade overall. So with the pros, I got a total tally of 5. Our main points were the soundtrack, the atmosphere, the cast, the story, and the achievement attainability. So pretty good for the pros list, 5 of them. And with our cons, we had a total of 2. Not bad at all either, actually. And honestly, they're pretty nitpicky on my end. So the cons, like I said, 2 of them, Tartarus, and then the repetitive dungeon crawling gameplay for both Tartarus and the DLC. The DLC also being $30 too much, in my opinion. Although, again, 30 hours of content is pretty beefy, so I don't know. Seems kind of nitpicky to me on my end. 2 cons isn't too bad. 5-2 ratio, can't complain. Overall, I'd give Persona 3 Reload a solid 8 out of 10. It's just something I got to be in the mood for. But once I was in the mood for it, it was hitting on all cylinders. I'd recommend it to everybody. It was a great experience. So, yeah, let me know below what your experiences with Persona are just in general. Did you play Persona 3 on the PSP? Have you played P5, P5 Royal, Strikers? Let me know. What's your favorite Persona song even though? I'm quite curious. Like I said, I disturbed my neighbor's peace. Curious if you have done the same. So, yeah, thanks for hanging with me today. I hope to do this again in the future, and I hope you had a good time. Happy gaming, guys. Peace.